Thanks to the support as a channel member, Charlie Pears. Well, it seems that signing Banfalvi yesterday was the straw that broke the camel's back for some of you, so should probably address the whole realism thing around non-league to legend, because some people, certainly in the comments and on Twitter yesterday, do seem to be struggling with it a little bit. So from my point of view, let me walk you through the thought process behind spending £1 billion in one season with a football club. Bayern Munich dominated the Bundesliga for 15 years. They won it every single year. For the last 3 years, they haven't won it. They finished second, and then fourth. This was an old team in decline. They then picked a manager with a reputation for taking an old team in decline and very quickly getting rid of all the old men, bringing in some very good up-and-coming young players, and asked me to do that and gave me a massive pile of cash to do it. A £250 million transfer budget, an enormous £6 million wage budget. They had £800 million in the bank that they'd stockpiled. And Germany just won the World Cup. So there was all these talented German players who were amongst the best players in the world who weren't playing for Bayern because of whatever the previous people here had been doing, that we just decided to collect together at one club. Yes, it was a lot of money to spend in one go, but I think that's going to be enough money to secure this club to dominate for the next 15 years or so. We've now got a very, very good squad that we're not going to have to add to very often. There's still £500 million in the bank here at Bayern. There's only £400 million of transfer debt, so we could pay all our transfer debt off and still have a higher bank balance than Tottenham did, who we've just left. And the club is still projected to make a £350 million profit this year, so FFP is not an issue. They're big numbers, but it's all good. The board are happy. I'm happy. Plus, we're in the future. Transfer fees are a little bit higher than they are now. We're 10 years on. Think back 10 years. It's all good. Realism. Hello and welcome to Club 5, Part 6 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our second leg of the Champions League first knockout round against Paris Saint Germain. We're 1-0. Is it 1-0 or 2-1? So long ago now. I think we're I've got to check. I think we're 1-0 up from the first leg. We are 1-0 up from the first leg. We're also going to be playing Fortuna Dusseldorf in the Bundesliga. Since you were last with me, I've spent 500 million. I haven't bought any more players. Since you were last with me, we've just continued to win football matches. We haven't played a huge number of them because I wanted to show you both legs of Paris Saint Germain. This is what the Bundesliga does currently look like if we can get that loaded up. We're now only 2 points behind Dortmund with, 9 games left to go. I think this title race is very much on because not only are we 2 points behind them with 9 games left to go, we still have to play them at home. 3 games from the end of the season. That as title decider written all over it. We are looking good to come good on all this money that we've spent. Fingers crossed. If not this year, then next year. This is the thing that I was talking to you about before. That's why investment was needed. And that is a board of directors that are happy with how the money was spent, apart from Banfalvi, who they think was a little expensive. But you know what? He was for me. And to be fair, he has come in as our best player, our key player. So Kev wins that round as well, I think. But in order for me to be truly satisfied with what's been going on, we do need to finish the job against Paris Saint Germain. All of what I've just said will be forgotten, and you'll all pick on me again if we now get knocked out of the Champions League from such a dominant position. So this is the team we're putting out there to face PSG. We've got Ferron in goal, a back four of Krajju, Banfalvi, Tigges and Dombrowski, Vermonti at the base of the midfield, Andre and Lust ahead of him, Van der Hoek and Gashi supporting a returning Thorgerson up front. He has been back for the last couple of games, but he is struggling for fitness. However, one thing we have done is change to a complete forward, because that's what we were doing with Antonio Carlos, and it was working. So rather than change the team around, I've just sort of brought him in doing the same role that Antonio Carlos was doing. Now, if it turns out Thorgerson isn't very good at it, which he should be equally as good at all of these things, we can always turn him back into a pressing forward again. But you know, if I have my choice, I'll always choose a complete forward. I love a complete forward. You can see where he's in a bit of decline on all these areas because of that injury he's just had. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to find his feet again. But hopefully, I mean, this feels like a good game to find your feet in. So if we can be on a foot hunt for the first half at least. And if it doesn't work out for Thorgerson, we've got Antonio Carlos, who is in decent form, ready to step into the void and prove why we spent £90 million on him. Right, we want to avoid complacency from the first leg. Remember, the first leg, we went down to 10 men thanks to the red card of Burke, which is one of the reasons why Lust and Andre are together in midfield today. Marquez probably feeling a little bit put out that he's not in that number, but we've got 4 very, very good central midfield players. There's always going to be at least 1 or 2 of them missing out. Vermonti looking to get things going as the deep line playmaker finds Andre, who was trying to release Gashi but couldn't quite get the ball over the PSG left back. But it's back with Vermonti and Gashi again, all the way back to Tigges, who's looked up and found Andre, who has space, sprays it out to Dombrowski, who's got Gashi inside of him, but he's gone it alone, and I think he's won a penalty here. There's going to be a little bit of a question as to whether or not that's in the penalty area, but it is. It's been given. We don't even get a replay. We have a penalty, and it's Gashi to step up to take it, and Gashi scores 1-0 on the night, 2-0 aggregate. That is a big, important goal for us, and huge credit has to go to Dombrowski. We're not seeing a replay of the actual penalty, but it was a piece of brilliance from him. If we were in another world, we might be talking about Jair things, having seen what he just did there, because it looked to everybody, me included, that he was going to do a little bit of a feint and then play Gashi in, who was in a much better position than Dombrowski was. But in the end, he just motored past his left back, and the guy had 2 choices. You either let him run past you and probably score, which he has done several times this year. He's got 7 or 8 goals from right back, or you bring him down. They brought him down, and it was a penalty given, which is why we're now 1-0 up and 2-0 up on the night. Erling Haaland, never heard of him, but he's just had a header that's comfortably collected by Ferron. And look at the calmness from Banfalvi there, just playing it across the back 4. I don't like it, but Dombrowski's trying to get past his man again here. He's causing all sorts of trouble down this right-hand side, and he's won the ball back there brilliantly. Dombrowski into Thorgerson, back to Lust. Lust finds Dombrowski again, who's going to try and beat his man again, gives it to Gashi. He's in space again. It's with Dombrowski, who hits the post. I know it should be Dombrowski, but I've called him Dombrowski for so long now. He will always be that. That's just the way when I mispronounce a name for long enough. Kryju now gives it back to Van der Hoek. He's gone charging off on the overlap, and Vermonti's going to find him. And here is Kryju on the overlap. Cross comes in. Thorgerson's there. It's well defended by the PSG defender, and now they've got the opportunity for a counter-attack on. But inexplicably, play the ball back into their own half, take all of the oomph out of the counter, and now we have one last highlight before half-time. It's Dombrowski with the throw, finds Thorgerson, who plays it back to Dombrowski, who's having an incredible game. Lust plays it into Gashi. Gashi shoots. Gashi scores his second of the game. It's 2-0 on the night. It's 3-0 on aggregate, and it's not even half-time. We're playing very, very, very well. This is what a £1 billion team looks like. I don't think we're going to need to spend money this coming summer, because even if we don't win everything this year, these players are all young enough to go and win it all next year. And I know that might be reminiscent of some of the things that I said at Tottenham, but I think we'll all agree that at Tottenham, we had a team of pretty good players who could go on to become world-class players. Did I do a team talk there? I feel like I didn't. Whereas here at Bayern, we've got a group of players who are already world-class. This is a bunch of relatively young German players who've just won a World Cup. Gashi amongst them, who's only 23 years old. And look at what he's doing there. That's absolute insanity from Gashi, who's looking for a hat-trick against the former Moneybags team. But we're the Moneybags team now. We'll throw the cash around. And we spent it a lot more sensibly than they did. Because look at the team we've assembled. And they're left with a bunch of old men. They've probably won the Champions League 6 times during this save. I haven't even checked. So they probably spent theirs quite well as well. But you know what? Who cares? We're doing all right. Banfalvi has missed out there, but Kryju's there to recover it, and Gashi's got the ball back again, and he beats his man as if he's not there. But it's straight at the PSG goalkeeper. We're just going to drop back to a balanced mentality. I know it's fun watching us go gung-ho attacking, but with a 3-goal advantage and only half hour left, it does make sense just to tell them, just chill out. I'm not asking you to defend, but we might not need both fullbacks up in the opposition penalty area all the time for the last half hour or so. It might be nice to keep one of you back to help out with the defenders and help out with Vermonti. According to this, Dombrowski's not had a good game. I don't understand the world anymore, because if we've been watching the same game, he's terrorised that left back all day long. Thorgerson, unfortunately, didn't play well, so Carlos can come on for him. I guess we respect the rating and we take Dombrowski off, bring Thumb on. Krysiu can just drop over to the other side. He's done it many times before. He's equally comfortable playing fullback on both sides, which is pretty rare. It's a very, very useful player to have, Krysiu, because it means we only have we've only really got 3 first-team level fullbacks at the club. But because Krysiu can play both sides, it hasn't caused us a problem yet. I mean, I guess it is an area where, in an ideal world, if we are really looking for places to strengthen this squad, maybe a fullback. But we've got Eduardo, the young Brazilian wonder kid who's out on loan this year. He might be ready for next year. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of young players. Guerrero's getting on a bit now. He's like 23, 24. But Haman and Rex Epi, they've got a combined age younger than mine, probably, in game, not in real life. Don't pick on me. But I think they're like 20, 21 each. And Haman's a World Cup winner and our backup defender. Yes, we spent £100 million on a backup. Never mind. But we have just knocked PSG out of the Champions League. So that, to me, makes it all worthwhile. That was a big test and we passed it with flying colours. Let's just see. Did they ever win it? They won it 2 years ago. So there's some context for you. 2 years ago, that PSG team was the best team probably in the world. Let's be honest with it. And we've just absolutely made them look ordinary over 2 legs, some of which was down to 10 men. So we are a very good side. Youth players, by the way, if you are our Name in the Game channel member, and you haven't checked the community page today, I posted these on there this morning. We've got a 5-star and a 4-star, and another 4-star and another 4-star. There's some good young players coming through. I'm getting Sevilla vibes from this Bayern youth system, which apparently is the best youth system in the world, I think. Yeah, maintain the best youth system in the world. It shows now is the time to use your Name in the Game token and get yourself a player who, even if I move on from Bayern after a few years to go and wins lots of stuff somewhere else, the likes of Aaron Gallego, whose name I'm sure will change before the next episode as someone pinches him, he's the kind of player who is likely to be around about the game for the duration of the save, I would suggest. So you'll be able to keep track of yourself in the same way Marius Hegley does, enjoying life back at Barnsley, and Ryan Lawson, who's now playing for West Ham. Right, let's say well done to Gashi. I'm so used to streaming now, I forgot I usually cut after the episode, after the match is done. So I'll cut now. Editing, Kev, you might want to cut sooner. I got into streaming mode. Give up streaming, Kev. It's ruining your videos. No Champions League draw, because I think in that first round they play staggered over a number of weeks, don't they? So we'll find out tomorrow who we've got in the next round. We've made a couple of changes for the Dusseldorf game. Thumb comes in at left back with Krysiu dropping back down to the bench. Haman is going to play at the base of the midfield because despite us signing him as a defender, he's a very good option to sit there at the base of that midfield. Probably in an ideal world he wouldn't be the playmaker, but he's as good at that as he is any of the other roles. So we may as well get him good at the role that we actually use there, because to be fair, looking at, again, why am I looking at attributes? What have I become? But he ticks most of those boxes. He is long-term going to be a defender, but I don't know, perhaps we'll do 3 at the back, because we've got 3 very good, reasonably young German international centre-backs here. So presumably, for them all to be regularly getting caps, Germany must be playing 3 at the back, or one of these 2 is playing in midfield. One day I'll check. Should we check now? Should we have a little look? Just see what I'm speculating on. So, no, Germany is playing a back 4. Where is Tigges? He's sitting on the bench. Am I playing the wrong one? They're playing Gashi as a striker as well. I mean, I know they've just won the World Cup, but when will they learn? I mean, that's a decent back 4. That's all us. And one of our defenders on the bench as well. Plus Farp. From the stream, you'll know why he's Farp, not Up. I mean, it's not hard to work out. It's his first name, but he's obviously a former Bayern player as well, who's moved on because he was an old man. But Gashi, I mean, it's a good-looking German team. There's no Lust in there either. Where is Lust? Why is he not in the midfield? That's how much strength and depth they've got. They don't need to play Lust or Tigges. That's insane. The other change is, Carlos in for Thorgerson. I got myself distracted, but Thorgerson wasn't great against PSG, so rather than switching him back to the role that he was so good at earlier in the year, I'll switch to the guy who's recently been playing well in the role that I want to use. Kev Logic. I mean, we spent a lot of money on both of them. I want them both to end up good. But Carlos, obviously, I plucked him from obscurity in Brazil. So I'd like him to come good to show that I'm a real talent spotter. Right. We're only second for form now. When did that happen? I do fully expect us to win the game, get the assistant manager to just pat some heads on the way out. Where are Dusseldorf in this league? We've zoomed out, trying to have a look. They're out just outside the relegation zone. While I'm still looking at the league table, Antonio Carlos has done the thing that he's probably best at because he's an enormous giant, and that is score a header from a corner. He is a huge goal threat from situations like this. Just towers over everybody. And there is his goal to put us 1-0 up, less than 2 minutes on the clock. And that does, as it stands, put us to the top of the Bundesliga again. But of course, we're playing before Dortmund, so they'll almost certainly take that spot back again before our next match. But we're constantly applying that pressure to Dortmund in the hopes that they either crumble before we face them and we go into that title decider already top, or we go into that game here knowing that we just have to beat them to win the league, effectively. So either way, keep applying the pressure. Gashi looking for the overlap from Dombrowski, but in the end pays it all the way back to Tigges, who gives it back to Gashi. Dombrowski's there for the overlap again, but we've instead gone to Andre, who shoots from range. Andre, with that early injury he got, hasn't played a lot of football for us this year. And this was the midfield too that I had in mind when we brought him in. But with Burke and Marquez both playing much better than I expected them to, and he's kind of fallen down the pecking order a little bit. But with the suspension to Burke, he's had a little bit of an opportunity here to try and play some games, and hopefully he doesn't let me down. Haman's not done very well there, but Tigges is there just to clean up the mess that's gone on in front of him, as he does so often. Now plays it forward to Andre. Dombrowski's just staying wide again, because why not? He's going to skin his defender again. I mean, a right back's just over. I mean, if that wasn't Jair things, I don't know what is. A right back's just overpowered at the moment, because we don't seem to be getting it from our left backs, although I guess we did get a little bit from Sessegnon at Spurs. But putting a right back as a wing back on attack, which we've only been doing on the right hand side, we did it with Jair, we do it with Dombrowski. Our right back, our wing backs on attack are overpowered at the moment. Is that what's happening here? Or have we just managed to pick up two very, very good right backs in succession? Because Dombrowski gets better and better and better every time I see him play. And he's another one who's an absolute giant. I forget which way around there. Is he the one who's 6'7"? He is the one who's 6'7", but that quick. Which is, I mean, that must be terrifying. He's like the football equivalent of Jonah Lomu. It's ridiculous, but bigger, which is insane. Carlos from range. I mean, that comment aged me a little bit, didn't it? Right, we continue with a throw for Dusseldorf, who are struggling to get out of their half. 34% possession. They've had 0 shots in these first 27 minutes, but they are having a little bit of a break on here, and that was a good touch to just take it round our keeper. And out of nowhere, from a very innocuous looking throw deep inside their own half, they've just kind of carved us open. Dombrowski, so focused on attacking, he's nowhere near the guy that presumably he's supposed to be marking. Keeper probably should have done a little bit better, but you know me, I don't like to blame my goalkeepers. And Van der Hoek's just scored a screamer. While I'm still making excuses for the goal we've just conceded, he's gone at the other end, grabbed his 15th goal of the season. Do you remember when I had some doubts about him? I'm an idiot sometimes, because clearly he's quite good, isn't he? That's a lovely goal. 3-1 up now, and we are in cruise control, dominating this game, and probably, I won't say more importantly, but just as importantly, we're in again. Van der Hoek scored again. Their goalkeeper's just had an absolute nightmare. 4-1 now. What I was actually trying to tell you before is that our goal difference is now better than Dortmund's, and it's only going to get better with stuff like this going on. What is their keeper doing here? The communication between their keeper and I guess their right back, because he's wearing the number 2, and we follow correct numbering in the Bundesliga. As you'll know from looking at my team, he is their right back, but that was terrible. 4-1 up at half time. This is why we're destined to win the league, and Dusseldorf are probably going to get relegated this season because they are a little bit all over the place there. That was just poor, but that is a thing of beauty. 3 points ahead, three goals ahead of Dortmund on goal difference now means not only do they have to keep on winning, but they now need to focus on continuing to score lots of goals as well, because it's so tight at the top between the two of us that it might come down to goal difference. And if it does, we want to make sure that we're the team who gets the advantage when it happens. Dombrowski now trying to get into a crossing position again. Cross comes in. I think there's a foul in the area there. Have we won a penalty? I think we have. It's surely going to be Van der Hoek to take to get himself his hat-trick. We're going over to the little telly to verify, but it looked like a penalty to me. Sometimes they take so long to decide. Why is it sometimes it's instant and sometimes it takes a while? Why do we sometimes go over to the telly and he sometimes does it on his earpiece? I don't understand VAR. But a man disguised as Antonio Carlos has given away the penalty. It is Van der Hoek to take, and he has got his hat-trick. He's had a good game today, hasn't he? 17 goals for the season as well. You could probably argue he's had a pretty good season. He might even be our top scorer. I would have to double-check, but I don't know that we've got any. But in fact, Thorgerson might be on 20 goals across all competitions. But in the Bundesliga, Van der Hoek might be top scorer for us now. We'll have to double check after the game. Thumb plays it to Carlos and it ends up with Haman and then Lust, and Haman again, who is looking at options ahead of him, finds Andre, back to Haman, Lust, Van der Hoek, back to Van der Hoek again, back to Andre and Haman, Lust. Look at this, just we're doing that possession thing that we do so well. I'm going to stop calling their names every time they get the ball because it will just go on forever because we're not going to give the ball back until they foul us and take it from us by cheating and get themselves sent off doing it. The silly, silly gooses. They should have just let us have the ball. We weren't threatening them. We weren't attacking. We were just giving Lust lots and lots of touches so that he could try and get top pass completion in the league. Right, let's make a couple of changes. Haman's going to come off. We're going to just bring Vermonti on for him. It's an easy change to make. And then we're also going to take off one of the midfielders. We'll take off Andre and bring Marquez on because it's not fair for him to be missing out on game time the season he's had. But like I say, I'm trying to try different options in there. It probably makes sense to bring Thorgerson on as well for the last 15 minutes or so, just to try and play him back into form and fitness after his injury layoff. Lust at the edge of the area of Vermonti. He's now trying to get something going with Marquez. Plays it into Thumb. Thumb's going to cross here. Carlos is hovering. Carlos is there and wins a corner. And I think this is the cue to bring Thorgerson on because we want to give him enough time to get on and make an impact. So as much as I'd like Carlos on for the corner, because of how dangerous he is, we don't need another goal from him. What we need is Thorgerson to get back in form because we will need him if we're going to be properly, I won't say win the Champions League, but if we're going to be competitive in the Champions League, we'll need him. That's a problem. Losing Dombrowski when he's been playing so well, especially after we've just made a substitution we wouldn't normally make as well. We'd normally save a substitution. As it is, we're not able to. So after doing so well when we went down to 10 men yesterday, I'm now going to do it a stupid way probably. We'll stick Vermonti back there. I mean, it doesn't matter so much. They can Thumb play right back? He can. So Vermonti can just about play left back, sort of. So he can go to left back. Thumb can play right back, and we'll just go with like a 4-4-1 or a 4-2-3, depending on how you want to describe it. Van der Hoek, deep in swinging free kick, and it just eludes the header. I think that was Tigges who was coming in for it, or it might have been Lust. Who knows? I didn't make a note of it. I should start writing things down. Thumb now. First time we've seen him playing on the right-hand side. Van der Hoek looking to grab a fourth, and that's exactly what he does. He's good, isn't he? I always knew he was good. I told you all along that he'd be one of our stars this year. It's the power of the soul patch. And I was right. Never doubt a man with a soul patch. It makes them instantly trustworthy and good at football. And that's a lovely finish. 6-1 now. Being down to 10 men makes no difference when you've got players in this kind of form. He's so close to the perfect game on a 9.9. Are we not going to give him that extra 0.1? He's played so well. No, he only gets a 9.9. One of those rare 10 out of 10 performances does elude him. I don't know that I've had one at all on FM20. Perhaps they're not possible anymore. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever had a 10 out of 10. That puts a little bit of a dampener on things, but at least we do have backup for him. And the other thing I wanted to check was who is our top league goal scorer now. So if we go to the league, there is Van der Hoek, top league goal scorer for us, and chase him for top league scorer in the division. Thorgerson, presumably, is going to be fourth on that list because he was on there previously. Yeah, there he is. So Van der Hoek, he's quite good. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.